Are we gonna pretend like I didn't shoot this video the same day I shot the last video and I only changed my top? Of course we are. Of course we are. Hello, hi, welcome to the uni advice you never knew you needed. My name is Tshiamo and I'm amazing. That's the chat. That's today's video. And I just want you to sit back, relax, and take it from a UCT alumni. Um, you know, obviously I wasn't baiting you. I really wasn't baiting you. I just had to because you needed to hear this. You get, but I really am a UCT alumni. I really am. Nonetheless, let's get into this video. So I'm gonna mention the factor of your life, obviously in uni, and just go on to elaborate a bit, tips and tricks I used in uni. And yeah, if you relate or if you think it might help you, use it. If not, don't. Let's talk about money. I know no one wants to talk about it. I would love to touch the part about funding, but I feel like it needs a separate video on its own because of how intricate it is and sensitive it is. However, I just want to talk about, let's just say, pocket money. If you have the privilege to have it, and just budgeting in general for your necessities. So, yeah, money. In uni, you're gonna have to be smart about it, okay? You need to see where you can spend less money if you can. I mean, from my experience, okay, I lived in like what is it? A catering race, so I didn't have to worry about food. Um, but yeah, it wasn't good. The food wasn't good, but it was good in that respect that I didn't have to worry about food, except for the fact that I used to buy a lot of takeouts because some of the food was just unbearable. Like I just couldn't do it. Um, so that was a factor for me. I don't know. I consider myself a picky eater, so obviously it will depend on that. But if you're not, I think you can stomach the food, and that's completely okay. So I had to budget for food, literally, despite living in a catering race, because some days it's just bad, and I'm not lying. I'm serious. It's just bad. So I had to budget for that. And obviously, your toiletries, you have to budget for that. Because look, if you spend all your money on Groove, you won't have those things. And you're going to be dry. And you don't want to be dry in varsity because you need to shower at some point. I don't know when, but like in case you don't shower regularly, you need to shower because you're interacting with people all the time. And look, no one's trying to, avoid you because of that. So you need to budget for that. Make sure that, especially your toiletries, these are the first things that you buy when you get your money, and ensure that they are sorted. You need to budget for your social life. Okay? As long as you don't have the money to do everything that you want. Emphasis on everything. Look, if you're in a city like Cape Town, you're gonna want to do a lot. You see, so you need to restrict yourself. You need to know where you can go and where you can't go. Not necessarily because you're not allowed to, but your funds do not allow you to do that. There's no flexibility. You get. So I suggest that you allocate certain amount of money towards socializing. I won't get into the specificities because I don't know how much you have on hand. Obviously, differs from person to person, but you need to set aside that amount of money and stick to it. You know, because if you don't, you're gonna be dry. And what did I say about being dry in varsity? You don't want to be that person. Trust me. Anyway, moving on into your social life. I just want to say stop chasing people. Stop. Just stop. Okay? Just stop chasing people because you will get mixed up with the wrong crowd and that won't be fun for your academics, your mental health, your finance, just like everything. Stop chasing people. You're at uni to study. Period. Everything else is secondary, okay? And what I mean by this is that I don't mean you shouldn't socialize, you get, or like go out and do this and do that and do that. But those things are secondary to the reason why you're at uni. Unless your plan is to just be there for vibes. You get. So what you're gonna try to do is time management. You need to manage your time because in as much as fun is important, you need to put in time for that. And that can only be done when you're done with your schoolwork. Listen to me, I've been there, okay? I have had fun and left my academics behind. It's not fun. Having sleepless nights is not fun. No. Sleeping at the library is not fun. Don't try and do it. It's not. Like, you're not going to benefit anything. You're literally not going to benefit anything. You're just going to be tired. You're going to be groggy. You're going to be moody. And you're going to be behind on schoolwork. And you'll never regain the time back. So just don't do it. Like, just try. You know when you try, you can eventually get there. I hope. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, let's get into like spirituality because I feel like in as much as you're out of your parents' nest, or like an alternative protective environment, yeah, it comes into question a lot, especially in uni, because you having your own ideas, you're all alone, your parents are not there, or your guardian is not there, and you have the freedom to do whatever you want to do. And with that comes so much responsibility, because at the end of the day, when things are happening in uni, guys, a lot of things can happen in uni. Trust me, life can life in uni, and you need someone or some things in some cases to cope. So some people resort to spirituality, whatever denomination they may prefer. And I also want to point out that just because, maybe at home you were like regularly at church or whatever spiritual affairs you have going on, it doesn't mean that that will be the same in uni. Most likely not. Subject to availability, interest, just your personal thoughts and so forth, I guess, because that's when you develop your adult personality, and yeah, there's no reason to beat yourself up about it, because we've all been there. We've all, had our own opinions about stuff, and that's part of growing up. But it's always wise to stick to what you know, given that it is not harmful to you. But if you are able to deviate and it works for you, amazing, amazing. Now I want to move on to health. I want to move on to health because I had the worst experience ever in uni. Okay, I don't want to say overall experience, but like the majority of my experience was really horrendous because of my health. Firstly, I'm going to talk about mental health and physical health. So mental health, let's get into the basics. If you don't feel okay, reach out. That's the best thing I can tell you, because you will drown alone, and that is not a good place to be in, because it'll affect your academics and in turn your long-term goals. So you don't want to do that. Reach out, get help, and get yourself back on track. If something is not worth it, don't engage. If it's costing you your mental health, it probably isn't worth it. And guys, I'm not talking about academic stress. Academic stress is usually caused by a lack of time management. I am saying this now because right now it's not as, bad as it used to be. But yeah, academic stress is academic stress. I don't know how to remove it, or eradicate it. I don't know. I don't have the answers. Even now, I still do experience academic stress, but it's not as intense. And obviously it's probably because of the mode of learning that I am engaged in right now. But you need to take it seriously. You need to take your mental health seriously, and you need to make sure that you have the necessary help around you. um yeah, guys, mental health is really important, and I don't know a better person to take care of it or to nurture it better than you can. You're the only person who can admit that you are struggling, you have problems, and you want to deal with them. No one can force you to seek professional help. um, and that's just how it is in my experience. I know this is a very sensitive topic, and you know, no one really wants to go down that road, but I feel that it is important to mention. And yeah, let's move on to physical health. So, when you get to uni, most of the time people gain weight, and that's because you're growing into an adult. Your teenage body won't be the same body you have in adulthood, obviously. So yeah, that's a rite of passage for some people. And I feel like the more we accept that, the better it is. It's not necessarily a health thing, and so forth. But sometimes mental health and your physical health can be intertwined, because some people lose or gain large amounts of weight because of their mental health or medication that they might be on. So it is very important to take note of that, and it's very important to implement regular exercise into your regime, because, guys, exercise produces endorphins that we know, and that can help you really deal with your academic stress. And I highly recommend it because, wow, it's like a very nice time out, and you can socialize and, you know, hit your physical goals or whatever you want to call it, and just do the most for yourself. So that helps in that regard. And obviously, if you don't feel well, just go to the school health facility or whatever, and get the necessary help that you need. Speaking of physical health, I just want to jump into sexual health. In uni, no one is there to police you. I hope that you know that. You can do as you please, and that comes with a lot of responsibility. When it comes to sexual health, please, please,
practice safe sex.
period. Um, if you're gonna deviate from that, it's it's on you, literally. Like, it shouldn't be as hard, to have access, um, to be cautious, and so forth. And trust me, I would love to think that this is not an important factor, but it is. Um, yeah, it's just messy, guys. It's just messy, but just be careful and do what you need to do, and hope for the best, honestly. Because I can't necessarily say take this step and this step and this step, and then you'll be free of all, um, you know, sexual inconveniences or sexual, traumas, or, just anything negative that can happen sexually, you know, or like to your sexual health. So yeah, that's the best thing I can say. And if your sex ed is really low, like please try and like educate yourself about a lot of things, because yeah, 9 times out of 10 turns out you don't know a lot, and that is a cause for concern. Anyway, let's move into academics. Um, the reason why you're at uni. The reason why you're at uni, the main reason actually. But yeah, this one is a deep one, because sometimes we go into uni not knowing what we want to study, and because we've already made that commitment, it's intimidating to change your direction. And that's a lot of things a lot of students are faced with, especially a lot of black students, in my opinion, because sometimes we try to impress or like please our parents, and this is not foreign, especially in the black community. And I feel like it's it's literally a dilemma. If you don't do what your parents want, it's not that cute. If you do what you want, you're disappointing them. So I don't know what kinds of steps we can take towards that, except um, you know having appropriate conversations with our parents, and somewhat separating the fact that we have passions and we need money. Because I have found that it's easier for people who are more privileged to do careers that are more artistic, or not so much in demand, have the connections or exposure to get employment, or study another thing that you know STEM vibes that brings money in, whilst still having your passion degree in your bag. So I think that's something worth considering. And sometimes people are pushed into corners, to do what they don't find interesting but are still good at anyway, because they are forced to be good at because of money. Because there's always the problem of where are you going to get employment, and that's not their fault. I think they should get more compassion for that. And sometimes it's just hard, and I really do hope that this changes in the future. I hope so. I really hope so, because yeah, no, it's not a good thing, especially for our youth in South Africa, because there's just high rates of unemployment, and it's just not looking good, period. It's just not looking good. And funding is also a problem. Like, it's just another problem on its own. Moving on to family. So, obviously, being away from home, especially, your family life is going to be somewhat disrupted. And that is expected because you're not at home, and you don't interact as much with your family members, and so forth and so forth and so forth. But just try to communicate with your family. I know, and this is if you can and if you want to, because I know some people don't have ideal um, family settings, like household settings, and that's one thing to um, consider. I also feel like if student accommodation could be more accommodating, in the sense of letting students be able to live there during the holidays, like during recess. That would be a good initiative, especially for students who, might not want to go home because of their familial problems or anything that is traumatizing them at home, especially. Um, but that I feel like is, something that can potentially be lobbied by people who are, affected severely. But I just think it's something that should already be in existence, basically. Let's talk about friends. I don't know, it depends. It's a gamble. I feel like, just like most things in life, you can find yourself with good friends or you can find yourself with the worst bunch of people you've ever met in your entire life. Yes, this is a very big possibility. But I feel like with friends, it's easy to step out and be like, I don't need this anymore, which is, yeah, which is better than, family, because it's harder to do that with family. I mean, you can cut contact, but that's just as much you can do. But with friends, you can literally, just tell them you don't want them in your life anymore, and nothing will ever make your paths meet, literally, in that capacity. So I feel like it will be up to your discernment. No one can choose your friends for you. You're the only one who can make that decision. But just remember that this is not the reason why you're at uni. Yes, it's a bonus. Yes, it's something worth having. Friends or something worth having, um, and we shouldn't try to diminish that in any way. However, if people are detrimental to you, your well-being, or your goal, which is graduating, I assume, um, yeah, it's best to just cut them off. And I also want to speak to the people who are antisocial. I know it can be hard to make friends, um, especially as a, like, antisocial person, or like awkward, or like, someone who usually doesn't fit in. But you can try. I mean, you can join societies, and that's where you can form your friendships. There are, clubs that you can join, like societies slash clubs. And yeah, raise, you can just utilize those kind of opportunities to make friends, and like people that you can, you know, socialize with, depend on slash confide in type of vibe. Um, and yeah, that's the chat. I just think it's go in there knowing, like, be aware. Don't be naive, because um, this can affect you significantly, and you might be in a place where you don't want to be. You might experience things that you don't want to experience, and at the end of the day, it's like it's your fault, because that's what's gonna happen. No one is gonna come forth and be like, it's the friends. It's always gonna be your fault. There's a lot of victim blaming in this world. So yeah, I think this covered a lot of the uni advice I'd have for someone in uni, or like thinking of going to uni and so forth. But yeah, I also wanted to mention the last thing about friends. Don't try and, especially like friends, money, and socially, don't try and be on a level that you aren't. And like be in circles that, force you to self abandon a lot in terms of like your finances, time management skills, your academics, and so forth. People who will pressurize you to be in, that group because of your social status. Because I find that a lot of people do that, and obviously I don't understand it that much, because yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm just built different and my belonging strategies are just not like that, or at least towards such things. Maybe mine is like rooted in like excellence, not to diminish the other one, but like I'd rather much be with people who are like excelling academically, going to like high status dinners with important people, making career moves, making business moves and so forth, rather than just being popular and, rich and like, I don't know, those kind of things, because that really doesn't interest me. But yeah, I feel like just be cognizant of that, especially if you're easily swayed or pressured in by your peers into doing things because you want to fit in or you want to be cool. And that point wraps up the uni advice you never knew you needed. I don't know, let me know if you want more in-depth videos about each of these topics. If not, let's just keep it at that. If yes, let's do it. Keep well and take care of each other.